2024 is finally over. I think it's safe to say that this year has been a wild one due to a multitude of reasons. But instead of talking about any of the things that, matter, I'm going to be covering a very specific topic. Back in 2022, I did a recap video based on my resolutions for that year. This year, I'm going to be doing something very similar, but for movies. I thought it was thematically appropriate because, Firework Films, the channel's called Firework Films because, like films, like movies, like you go to the movie theater, you see a movie. I'm going to be talking about the movies I saw this year in the form of 7 categories. The best movie I saw this year, the worst movie I saw this year, the movie I thought was going to be good but turned out to be bad, the movie I thought was going to be bad but turned out to be good, best performance, worst performance, and my best picture prediction. Please keep in mind that I have very, very hot takes. This much is apparent if you follow me on Letterboxd. I also haven't seen all the movies that came out this year. Like, I still haven't seen these movies. Spoilers ahead for all the movies I talk about, and let's get started. This is kind of scary, isn't it? Let's start off with the worst.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man.
I really thought I was going to make this video and Madam Web was going to be in this segment. I thought I was going to relay how I was embarrassingly looking forward to this movie, defending it at any point, and then when I finally saw it, Sony took a knife to my back and just betrayed me. It would have been a lot nicer if that was the case. But believe it or not, Madam Web wasn't the worst movie I saw all year. That award goes to a remake. A really, 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 really shitty remake. The Crow. I don't even know where to begin. Everything about this movie makes my skin crawl. Look, I don't think the original Crow is great. It's a good movie and Brandon Lee is phenomenal. But compared to the remake, it makes it look like Shawshank. The thing that makes the original Crow fun is that the bad guys don't know what's going on. When you give the bad guys the knowledge from the start, it strips away all the fun in the fights. I read a review on Letterboxd that says, and I quote, "There's not supposed to be some big bad. Eric and Shelley's lives were cut short by accident." And I agree with this. By making their killers connect to their actions, you make the strongest part of the story, which is Eric's love, flimsy and shaken. The original worked because you didn't meet Eric until after he came back from the dead. You learned the full story with him while he regained his memories. You didn't see the more fantastical elements aside from the self-healing. It felt grounded. Like, even though it couldn't happen, it felt real. You guys just made Bill Skarsgård an edgy Joker that just learned the word fuck. And look, I know the original, he did this, but making Eric put on his makeup before the fights just felt so silly in this movie. It felt so unserious, as the original felt more like a moment. Another thing, and I might sound like a baby when I say this, but Hollywood, calm the fuck down, cool it with the gore. And look, I can handle some gore. John Wick 3 is one of my favorite movies of all time, but there's a limit. I get it, you want to show him killing bad guys, and you can do that without having jaws being ripped off like it's a Mortal Kombat game. There's a style to action. Some of the best action movies aren't just someone's guts being spilled. They do it with class and treat it like it's an art form. This movie just takes it to a gross place. It's gross. It becomes gross. What a horrible, horrible stain on Brandon Lee's legacy. Now people have to differentiate between the 1994 Crow and this cash grab. I say that, but if it wasn't for my constant doom scrolling on Letterboxd, I would have never known this movie existed. Like, I saw no promotional for it. Maybe staying ignorant was the best option. Emmy, what was your least favorite movie of 2024?
Miller's Girl.
Confession, I was on the hate train for this movie when the trailer dropped. I wasn't a big fan of the original one and was befuddled when I heard they were making a sequel. I was annoyed and was just frustrated at the whole sequelitis-ness of Disney. The only reason I ended up seeing this movie in theaters was because of my Pixar-loving girlfriend. Shout out to Emmy Oliver on YouTube. Go subscribe and watch all of her films.
No, just watch Regression, guys. Just watch Regression.
Go subscribe and watch all of her films.
No.
So I saw the movie and I fell in love with it. I don't think it's one of Pixar's best movies, but it's certainly up there. I really love the portrayal of anxiety in the movie and found a lot of the script to be very funny. There were some nitpicks I had, but I felt like the emotions had more of a character in this story. So there you have it. I was wrong about Inside Out 2, and I will happily admit it. Emmy, what was a movie that you saw this year that you thought was going to be bad but turned out to be good?
Oh, Speak No Evil. That movie was a horror movie starring James McAvoy, and my friends at work who thirst over James McAvoy wanted to go see it. I wasn't going to see it because the trailer was played before every movie I saw, and it just didn't look that compelling. And while it wasn't amazing, I enjoyed a decent amount of it, and there was one part towards the end that really, really gripped me. So I would have to say Speak No Evil.
M. Night, how? How do you drop an amazing trailer with a promising premise and drop the ball so hard? Well, I actually imagine it's quite easy for you. After Earth, The Happening, The Last Airbender, Old, Knock at the Cabin Door, Glass. Okay, I'm gonna stop being mean to you, but I will continue to talk about Trap. I was genuinely excited for this movie. I thought the trailer was great upon release. It was something interesting, something that hasn't been done before. Then I saw your movie, Mr. M. Night. Can I call you that? M. Night? Mr. M. Night. Have you ever been to a concert? Do you know how they work? There's just a lot that happened in this movie that makes me want to have a talk with everyone that approved it. The story had holes, the characters were hollow, and the movie completely derailed by the third act. And Mr. Knight, if you are watching, I don't mean to offend you. I love Sixth Sense, and I genuinely do hope that you're doing well. Also, if you personally send me the full Lady Raven album, I will happily promote it for free. Thank you. Emmy, what was your movie that you thought was going to be great but turned out to be bad?
Mr. Shyamalan, as a Philly native and a lifelong concert goer and daughter of an actual groupie, I just want to ask you not only if you've ever been to a concert, but if you've ever had a conversation with another human being before. I'm genuinely curious. The TikToks say it all of just oh, bye honey, I'm gonna go get you a shirt.
There was a point where I wanted to dedicate this segment to Channing Tatum's Deadpool and Wolverine performance as the Gambit. That was before October. October changed everything because in October, We Live in Time came out. I found it hard to pick between the two, so I'm just going to throw both of them in there. Andrew and Florence had some of the best chemistry I've seen all year. They poured every drop of emotion into that movie, and it really shows. Not even Hugh and Ryan had this much tear-jerking presence. This movie was quite literally made for them. Emmy, best performance of 2024.
Mikey Madison for her portrayal as Nora, and I also want to shout out Nick Cage as Longlegs.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Do I even need to say anything? Could this even be considered a hot take? This guy's ADR didn't even match up with his fucking lips. What's going on? There's honestly no excuse for any of this. I would kill to know the true intentions of this movie. It wasn't going to make money, and they sunk so much into the advertisement. You couldn't go a day without knowing that this movie was going to come out. It wasn't going to be liked by the fans. It wasn't going to be liked by the general audience. No one knew who Madam Web was. What was this movie for? Emmy, worst performance of 2024?
Okay, so I could never ever insult this person as an actor because I really have loved everything that they've been in ever. But in this movie particularly, I just felt that their character wasn't where they needed to be. I don't know. So I'm not gonna say who I thought had the worst performance because I still really love them as an actor. But I will say that this person, the performance that they gave was from Beetlejuice, and it just didn't jive well with me. But that whole movie wasn't like my cup of tea in general, so.
I may be alone on this, but I'm gonna go with my gut feeling. I think Saturday Night will get the Best Picture win. If not win, it will at least be nominated. Sure, it has the composition of going up against a Coleman Domingo movie and 2 Timothée Chalamet features, but I can see it prevailing. I really enjoyed Saturday Night. I think it was a perfect way of telling the story, and I found myself at the edge of my seat wondering if they were going to make it, even though I'm fully aware of SNL's presence nowadays. The movie felt like what that first night was. Chaotic, wacky, and a bit clever. All that being said, I do think Dune 2 will take home a lot of awards just like its predecessor. Music, visual effects, costume design, and maybe even snatch up some supporting roles. However, I do believe Saturday Night can win. The only movies I can see beating it are Sing Sing, A Complete Unknown, and maybe Challengers. If you ask me, I think the award should go to Sentinel. Emmy, what's your Best Picture prediction?
Probably Dune 2.
What do you want to win?
Challengers.
Before I get to the best movie of the year, in my opinion, I want to take some time to name some honorable mentions. These are all the movies I gave 5 stars. Deadpool and Wolverine, Saturday Night, The Fall Guy, Joker Folie à Deux, Shut Up. And that's it. There's definitely not another movie that came out this year that I really liked and everyone else hated, and I'm kind of embarrassed to admit my love for it. Don't worry about it. Anyway, the best movie of the year, in my opinion, was, drumroll please, We Live in Time. When I first heard that there was going to be an A24 romance movie starring 2 of the most attractive people in the world right now, it would be a bit of an understatement to say that I was excited. So, on a surprisingly warm day in October, my girlfriend and I went to the theater and saw the movie. This movie changed my DNA. Everything in that movie felt like something of a puzzle piece finally fitting into place. That's the best way I can describe it. The acting was phenomenal, the story had me hooked, and the cinematography was so captivating. I did not want to look away for a second. And I almost made it through the whole movie without crying. And then the final scene happened. We were not okay.
No, we weren't.
So yeah, We Live in Time was my favorite film of the year. Emmy, what was your favorite film of the year?
Alright. There are 2 correct answers. Right now it's Challengers, but I really love The Substance, and I just ordered a cute little graphic tee of The Substance. So I would say that those 2 are the contenders. If I had to pick one, it would be Challengers. But The Substance, yassified horror, and I loved it. So those are my favorite movies of this year.
So that was 2024. If I'm being honest, a bit sparse in terms of movies. I know that's because of the writers and actors strike. But hey, this year was a good year for horror movies, which is great if that's what you like. But if you're a big baby like me, that doesn't leave a lot to see in theaters. But that is my list. Now there's only one thing left to do. Look forward to the future. Do you know how hard it's been to be a DC fan lately? I've been hanging on as Hollywood throws things like Aquaman 2 and The Flash at me. I've been hanging on waiting for some sort of excellence. And then it was announced. A complete reboot of the DC Universe. To be 1,000,000% honest, I was skeptical. Mainly because I thought that Peacemaker was okay and The Suicide Squad was pretty decent. But after learning about the cast for this movie, I was in. Superman is gonna take so much of my money. If this movie is bad, I have no more purpose on this earth. Please, Senor Gunn, please Please, I need this movie to be good. Please. I am so truly excited for this next chapter. Also, Mr. Gunn. Can I call you Mr. Gunn? If you are ever like, man, I don't really know what to do with my DC universe, I have a 5-phase timeline that I would love to share with you. Please give me a call, but that's a video for another time. Amy, what's your most anticipated movie for 2025?
You know, it's totally not some like cryptic horror movie that doesn't even have a plot really yet and has Jack Quaid and is produced by Zach Kreger, who wrote and directed my favorite horror movie of all time. It's totally not Companion. It's definitely Mickey 17. Like, I'm so excited to see Robert Pattinson just be silly, goofy, and die a lot. Yeah.
Honestly, this video was a lot of fun to make. I can see myself making this type of video annually. Let me know if you guys like it. And now I will read out some of the other movies coming out next year that I am really, really excited for. We've got Mickey 17, Love Hurts, Captain America Brave New World, Sinners, Thunderbolts, Mission Impossible 8, John Wick Presents Ballerina, Elio, Fantastic Four First Steps, Michael, Tron Ares, Mortal Kombat 2, Now You See Me 3, and Five Nights at Freddy's 2. And finally, I am so excited for you guys to see Nightwing and Batgirl Checkmate, and some other Firework Films products coming out this year.
We got so much stuff coming out next year. Stay tuned and subscribe.
Follow me on Letterboxd if you want to see the full list of my 2024 ranked.